Hello and welcome to today's teaching. Here is Pastor Joe.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the study we're having on the Pharisees. Today we want to look at religion. We talked about that earlier, but today we want to look at an aspect that religion that works. That's kind of what, from my notes, what it says. And so I wanted to look at the fact that the world is full of people searching for something, searching for the truth of something that has substance to it, something that has meaning to it. And they're off into all kinds of different things. And mainly it's religion of humanism, religion of whatever it might be. Christianity, is one, Hindu, Islam, all these other things, all these other religions that are, or we could say religions, that people are trying to get into to find something that works. But so when you really get into that religion that people get into and it starts to work, then it really works. What I mean by that is that they don't get into it and all of a sudden it don't work, and so they try something else. But a religion that works, and that was the thing with the Pharisees and Judaism. Once they began to applying it to their lives in every area, it began to work. Much like Islam does, when true followers of Islam tell you that it works. And so that's one of the biggest issues that we have as Christians, that we run into what we would call legalism. Let me say this, that as understanding the Pharisees will reveal the grip that religion can have on the human soul, irrespective of its truth. See, understanding these guys lets you know how strong religion can be on a person. In Phariseeism, we see religion at its best, yet it fails far short of God's true mark. We see in the Pharisees religion at its very best, but it falls short of what God's true mark was, and that is relationship. Perhaps God placed Phariseeism so properly in the Bible to provide a clear picture of a religion that can produce righteous behavior, but not righteous hearts. One that has a handle on much truth, but subtly twisted. In other words, church, we have a religion here that works to the max. Good morals, teaches you how to treat one another, walk a certain way, but it does not affect the heart. It doesn't bring in a godly heart. Through the years, ever since its conception, the biggest problem that the church has faced has always been religion. Not religion, but in religion it's always been legalism. See, when Paul wrote to the church at Galatia, the main thing he wrote about was legalism. See, when we say that someone has sinned, that they've fallen from grace, that's not true, church. That's not what falling from grace means. When you read the scriptures, you understand that falling from grace means you've fallen into legalism. And the whole thing about falling from grace is literally a picture of the Ark of the Covenant. And on the top of the Ark of the Covenant were the cherubim, one facing one another. They made up the top of the Ark of the Covenant, and the top of the Ark of the Covenant was what was known as the mercy seat, where the blood was put, and so at the sacrifice, and those cherubim on top of the mercy seat represented the New Testament saints and the Old Testament saints. The Old Testament saints looking toward the cross or the blood, the New Testament saints looking back to the cross or the blood, and so the mercy seat was where the mercy was, seat that covered what was in the Ark of the Covenant, and that was the law. And so the mercy covered the law. So when you fell from grace, you fell from top of that mercy seat. You fell from there down, and you fell into the box, as it were, which meant you fell into the law. So you got under the law, you become a legalist. And I know that word's thrown around quite a bit, but the reality is that legalism is very real and alive in the church. And when Paul wrote to the church of Galatia, that's what he was addressing. He was attacking the fact they had gotten off from grace by faith and gotten over into works and gotten over into legalism. And he said, if you see in Galatians, he really scolded them guys, really got after them. And the thing about it was that it was all about the fact that they had gotten away from grace, faith by grace, and gotten into works. And he really just, I mean, it was just really a sobering letter when you read it about how he's trying to get them away from legalism and back into grace. Now, if you contrast that to the book of Corinthians, where the church had gotten into, the gifts were being just, misused. When they have communion, that people would show up drunk. They turned into a big feast and eating all the time. And I mean, it was just a mess. But he never scolded them like he did the church of Galatia. Because they, even though they were all messed up in Corinth, they still did not get under the law, did not fall from grace, did not leave grace and go to the law. And so even though they were seen to be far more messed up than the Galatians, Paul saw that legalism was the biggest threat to their Christian walk. And so it is today. In John chapter 8, verses 1 through 11, we read where Jesus was approached by the Pharisees, and it was more than likely it was the group of the Shemite, because they were strict legalists, and they came to him with a woman that had been caught in the act of adultery. Now, church, please, I never understood. Maybe somebody can help me or tell me, write in, call me, whatever. How do you have adultery with only one person? You see, I never understood that. They caught this woman in the very act, which means there had to be somebody else there. Anyway, and so Jesus was confronted by these guys, and they said, law says a stoner, so we need a stoner. What do you say? And I like what he did. He bent over and wrote on the ground. Now understand that there wasn't dirt. This wasn't a dirt floor in the temple. No, this was a stone floor. And so when he was writing, he was taking his finger and he was writing on the stones. And some people have said that they thought he was writing the person's their sin was being wrote. He's writing down every one of their sins. I don't believe that, because that's not the way the master worked. What I think he was doing, what I believe he was doing, what I heard a guy teaching, I really believe that he was teaching, was that he was writing down the law. He was writing out the law with his finger. Then he stood up and said, "You without sin, cast the first stone." Then he went back down and started writing the law again on stone. Remember with Moses, God wrote on the stone once, and Moses took the commandments down. Remember, he walking down the mountain with the 15 commandments, and he said, "These 15 commandments," and he said, "No, wait a minute, dropped one. These 10, no, that's from a movie." It's always funny when I think about that. He had 15, he dropped one. Well, there's only 10 now. No, sorry about that. But anyway, so he took and he broke those 10, as we know. He threw them down, broke them, and then he went back up, and God had 10 more. He wrote again on stone, he brought them down. So that's why I think that what this brother was saying is true, is that Jesus wrote twice, once for the first time, and again, second time, just like it happened with Moses. Here he was repeating it, because they had said, Moses said, well, okay, how did Moses get that law? Well, this is what the law says. He wrote it out. So that's what I think happened there. But here's the thing, is that it was legalism that brought her there. You see, legalistically, you have got to do something with this woman. She has sinned. See, there was no compassion, no mercy, no grace. And again, there was no man. There should have been somebody else there, but there was only one. And so it's important for us to understand how strong legalism can be. Let me just read this, that the Pharisees are a constant scriptural reminder that religion and inevitably will be counterfeited. From the time Jesus onward, the subtle perversion of Phariseeism has steadily made inroads into the Christian church. Traditions, separations, self-righteousness, and performance grids are some of its manifestations in the church today. You see, with traditions and separationism and self-righteousness and performance, these are the things that have crept into the church from the Pharisees and from their religion that worked. And so we have just taken it, brought it right in with us, and now, unfortunately, a lot of the church is made up of these very things I talked about. And so, understanding that, seeing that, and saying, okay, if that's true, then Lord, where's that? What do I need to do to be free from that? So I'm not caught up in all these things that I see that the pastor is talking about. Where's my heart? What am I doing? Am I a legalist? Have I got caught up into this? Have I got caught up in, well, you got to do this way, and you got to do this way, and you got to do this way? Or do I have grace for my brothers and sisters? So we'll leave it there for now, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Have a good day. Be blessed. I want to thank you for watching today. I hope that we were a blessing. If we were, then please leave a comment or call the number listed below. Until next time, always remember, God's grace is bigger than your sin. Have a good day.